What, girls? What's going on, chicken friends? It's Donna Little from the Coop Scoop, and I have had a lot of comments about a couple of different things that sort of relate to each other, and every time I have that happen, it's just easier to make a video about it because I think that there are a lot of misconceptions, and trust me when I say, before I had chickens and when I first got chickens, I had a lot of misconceptions about eggs and didn't know anything about broodiness, and there were just, you know, if you don't know, you don't know, right? So here's the deal. I get comments frequently about, it'll be like this. Don't you think that it makes your chickens sad when you take their eggs away from them? Or, you know, I know that it must be devastating for them to have their eggs taken away. And, you know, and I'll have some people be really sweet and say, you know, I'm glad that you don't snatch your eggs out from under your hens. You know, I know that has to be... Maybe I shouldn't have put you on my lap. She really always loves to peck me in the neck, and it hurts. So here's the thing. I am as guilty as the next person of humanizing my animals. And I like to think that my chickens want to hang out with me because of their deep love for me, like I have for them. But in all reality, probably a lot of it is they're going, where's the treat? I know you brought us something, so that's one of the reasons that they hang out with me. Now, with that said, I am fully aware that chickens can form strong bonds with their people, that they can have bonds with each other, that they can have bonds with other animals. But does it feel the same way as humans? You know, I don't think so. I think that there is a lot of things that chickens do that are purely instinctual. And so here, I'm going to give you guys a couple of examples, and this will go along with the having the eggs taken away from them. When they're hatched, they know immediately. I mean, like, it's crazy because I don't have a rooster here, so I can't have fertilized eggs, so I don't hatch eggs here. I have all of my chickens came from hatcheries. So I get one from a hatchery. These little tiny chicks come to me. They're a couple of days old. They already know how to forage. They know to scratch the ground to look for worms and bugs. They know how to take a dust bath. They know that that keeps their feathers clean. So it's just, they're running on instinct. I can bring them out at a few days old and put them in a covered pen, and they can hear my hens alert to an aerial predator, and they will take cover so fast. It is amazing because it's just a natural instinct. No one had to teach them this stuff. So I think when I see people ask me, you know, don't you think it makes your chickens sad to have their eggs taken away? I am assuming that that probably comes from them seeing videos where there's a broody hen and she's sitting there, and if you don't have chicken, and I feel like most of the people that ask these questions don't have chickens and they just enjoy watching the channel, that if you don't know what broody means, it's just that their body is telling them conditions are right, you know, it's time to sit on this clutch of eggs and hatch some. So it's not really so much, you know, them thinking to themselves one day, I think I want to be a mom. It's not like that. It's not like a woman saying, you know, I really want to get pregnant and have a baby. It's their body. It's their instinct. It's like when a dog goes into heat. She's not thinking, I want to be a mommy. It just happens to her, and she goes into heat, and then either she mates with another dog and gets pregnant or not. So kind of the same theory. I have one here, even though I don't have a rooster, that goes broody on a regular basis. If you watch my channel, you know it's little Miss Lindy. She's one of my coachins, and 99.9% of the time when she's in there being broody, she acts exactly like some of the broody hens that you might see on another channel. And I think that is what upsets people. They see people reach underneath this little broody hen, and she's screaming and squawking and puffed up and pecking, and like she's fiercely defending this nest of eggs. Most of the time when my little hen, Lindy, is sitting and she's going broody, she's never on an egg. I mean, every now and then she happens to get in there where there's an egg, but most of the time there are no eggs in there. And she will fiercely defend that empty nest, just like she is defending a little clutch of eggs. So It's not an emotional thing for them. It's an instinctual thing for them. But you also have to realize if it's something that you feel like is mean or it upsets you, that if I, for instance, did have a rooster here, if we could have roosters, and I had, no ma'am, and I had, you know, a hen or two that regularly went broody, responsibly, I can't allow that hen to have a clutch of, you know, hatch a clutch of eggs every time she wants to, because I would end up with 100 chickens, and I can't house 100 chickens. And even if I wanted to sell, girl, you're way too close to my face. Even if I wanted to sell those chickens, I have to have them for a while here, you know, and deal with that. Okay, I love you so much, but you need to turn around. I don't have space for that. You know, I can't do that, and other people can't do that either. On top of the fact that you might not just want 100 chickens. So if you had 5 broody hens, you would end up with 100 chickens in no time flat. So that's, you know, just kind of being responsible. But in my situation, like I said, I don't, you know, I can't have fertilized eggs anyway, but I also don't have the nest space for there to be 2 or 3 broody hens just sitting there for no reason. So when somebody is taking those eggs away or making that broody hen get out of the nest, which also I think upsets some people, something else you have to think about is most of the time when they're broody like that, it's summertime and it's very hot, and a broody hen a lot of times won't come out of the nest box. They'll just continue to sit there. So Lindy, I have to take out to get her to drink something and to get her to eat, so she's actually not taking care of her own needs. She's not, you know, drinking when she should. She's not taking care of her own body. So I have to make her do that for her own good. So that is the deal with that. It's not emotion for them. It's not making them sad. It's not making them grieve, because they probably, honestly, especially if it's their first time going broody, they don't even know what the outcome might be. You know, they don't know that there's going to be chicks out of that. Now, I do know there are a lot of chickens that don't peck her, that are wonderful moms, and they're very attentive and very protective of their chicks. But that does not mean that they have the type of emotional attachment to those eggs, if you know what I mean. So most of my chickens never go broody. They lay an egg, they're out. They couldn't care less about that egg. I could take that egg right in front of them and throw them on the ground, and they're going to eat it. They're not going to look at that like, oh my gosh, my baby. You know, no, that is not happening. So hopefully that clears that up. But the next thing is this, and I have had recently a couple of comments that were just really downright rude, and I ended up having to mute a couple of people because it was totally different questions, but the gist of it was the same. Somebody said, they both asked if I fed my chickens layer feed, and I was like, yes, you know, I have laying hens. And so their answers were both generally, like I said, the same, like, oh, you know, almost like gotcha, you know, apparently you don't care anything about your chickens. You only care about what you can get out of them and using them to give me more eggs. And that could not be farther from the truth. Because first of all, if you watch my channel, you know, my chickens are spoiled. I have one that I can't even tell you, Ari. I don't know that she's laid 20 eggs since she's been here. I never see her lay eggs, but she's going to be here for the rest of her life. If I have some chickens, like my higher production egg layers right here, Miss is that her? I can't tell in the camera. Ruby. You know, she might be through laying when she's 2.5. Well, she's already that age. When she's 3 or 4 years old. If she lives to be 10, she's going to just be retired, living her best life here. Here's the misconception that I'm talking about, because I see other comments that are sort of like that, like, you know, do you give them layer feed so they'll start laying? Layer feed does not make a chicken lay eggs. Layer feed supports the nutritional needs that they have because they lay eggs. So you can't go, my pullets are 6 months old and I feel like they should be laying now. They're definitely old enough to be laying. I'm going to start them on layer feed and that will make them lay, because that isn't how that works. You give them layer feed because they're laying. It has more calcium in it than a starter grower feed. You know, it has more of the nutritional needs things in there that are going to meet the needs that they have to produce good, healthy, strong shelled eggs. You don't want to not give them the things that they need or the level of calcium that they need, because if you don't, she's got a lot to say on this subject. If you don't give them those things that they need, then sometimes that's going to mean they'll have weak-shelled eggs. It's very soft. Sometimes they can have an egg with no shell at all. And you don't want a shell, or an egg, to break inside of them, because that can cause them to get an infection called egg yolk peritonitis, and that can actually end up being fatal if you don't handle that pretty quickly. So you don't want that to happen. That's why I give mine layer feed. Now, I am fully aware also that you could go a little old school if you wanted to, and you could give your chickens nothing but table scraps and allow them to go out and forage. If you knew what you were giving them was healthy, I don't have enough table scraps for that. It's just me and my husband here. I don't have 5 kids, wasting food that I can toss out in the yard for the chickens. I cook for the 2 of us. So during the winter, especially when there isn't a ton of bugs outside for them to forage around for, I can't possibly not feed them. And, the last comment I got was just like last week. And I'm like, am I not supposed to feed my chickens anything? So that's what layer feed is for. It's not to make them lay. You're not going to get more eggs out of your chicken than they're going to lay in their lifetime. It's not possible. They're like humans, like women. We have, when we're born, a certain amount of eggs in our body. And that's it. That's why women go into menopause. Their eggs are old or gone or whatever by then. And it's the same thing with chickens. They reach a certain point. They don't have any more eggs in their body to be laid. So they're only going to produce a certain amount in their lifetime. There's a blue jay screaming at me now. So they're only going to lay a certain amount of eggs. You can't make more happen. So if somebody does say that to you, oh, you must be feeding them this so that you'll like you're creating them to be little slave laborers or something, that can't happen. That's not how it works. So hopefully that makes sense. Your layer feed is just to support them because they lay eggs. It is not to make them lay eggs. Hopefully that all made sense. But anyway, I just wanted to address those things because I have been seeing a lot of comments about that here lately. I hope you guys are enjoying our content. And if you are, hit that subscribe button and notification bell. We've got a lot of things coming up this summer. Have a fantastic day, guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Right?